So, welcome to another episode of The Reluctant Leader. So, I am your host, Gajinda Bogle, aka The Reluctant Leader, and I am joined today by an absolutely fabulous and electric guest, Laura Brunton, who I am so honored to be able to call my friend, a fellow success sister, and obviously a fellow business owner. And before we start the conversation, Laura, would you mind introducing yourself to everybody who might be watching or listening in today?
Thanks so much, Gajinda. I'm so pleased to be here. I'm Laura Brunton. I'm a business coach and I am obsessed with helping vibrant women grow a profitable business that they love. Sorry, I should have put my teeth in there on that one. It's typical, isn't it? The very first thing. Ladies, this is imperfect action in progress, isn't it? We all mess up sometimes.
100%. Do you know what? I still mispronounce the reluctant leader, and I'm like, I should have chosen an easier name, not such a tongue twister. Amazing. Laura, it's so incredible to have you on the show. And as you know, the show is all about our businesses, it's all about business owners, it's all about an entrepreneurial journey. So I really want to understand, have you always dreamed about having your own business?
The short answer, no. Never featured on my radar at all. For me, growing up in the northeast of England, in a cash-stretched family, we didn't have any money. For me, the only out that I could see was getting a job in a big business, wearing the suit, having the fancy car, having the job title. That was the dream for me. And we probably come on to this. It was only when I was, what, 38, 39, that this whole world of entrepreneurship presented itself to me when we were living in Australia at the time.
Ooh,
And then that was like, did you not know that? Did you
I
not go
didn't
to
know
school?
that. I didn't know that. I did not know that. So can you, for my interest as well as everyone else's, can you talk us through what you were
Absolutely.
doing at that time and what brought about this entrepreneurial journey for you?
I can do. So at the time, I was in HR leadership. I'd done that for getting on to 15 years. Loved it, but was looking for the next challenge. So, very long story short, I had my second child, and straight after maternity leave, like day one of being back in employment, I was on a plane going to Sydney with my husband, my two little boys, because I'd been able to, the company basically created a role for me in Sydney so that I could get into the consultancy side of the business and have all of that international experience. It was brilliant, like a lifetime trip of no other. But what happened there, which was super interesting, is that's when the door really opened for me to, first of all, truly realize that you really can do anything you put your mind to. Like the thought of being able to influence my husband to take a sabbatical from his job, be a stay-at-home dad while I went to work out in Sydney. I mean, it just sounds bonkers, doesn't it? Like nobody in my close network or family had ever done anything like as radical as that. So I think the realization that actually, if you've got that dream and that drive, and thank God I've got the most supportive husband ever, we're a real solid team. Like, don't get me wrong, he didn't want to do it initially. We just had the second baby. He was like, what does this mean for my career? What's it going to be like being a stay-at-home dad for a while, not knowing anybody in the country? It did come with its risks and its challenges, but it gave us both as a couple and as a team the confidence that actually, as long as our family, like our immediate family, are okay, we're looking after each other, we're happy, we're healthy, we're safe, we can go anywhere in the world.
Wow.
And what I ended up doing is I really got into Mel Robbins at the time, who I'm sure you've heard of, just from a
Yeah.
mindset perspective, like the Mel, the 5 second rule, all of that good stuff. And I ended up at a conference where Tony Robbins, no relation, was the keynote speaker. And have I not told you this story either,
No.
Gajinda?
We
I
spent
was on
so
the
much time together, Laura. I feel like, hold on a minute. What's going on
There's so
here?
much you don't know. And likewise, I bet you I don't know all of your deep dark secrets yet. So I was on the end of an aisle in this big conference centre in Sydney, and I swear to God above, Tony Robbins, like a big, huge, I don't even know what he must be, 6'6" or something, he's a big guy, was stood right next to me. And as he was talking, he was above me, and he was spitting on my face, and it was pre-COVID, and I was totally here for it. I didn't mind it at all. How weird is that? I was like, I've got Tony Robbins spit on my face when he was
I'm never
talking.
washing my face ever again.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, we'll keep that one for later. Got a bit of success on me. And look, that conference just blew my mind where there was people who were entrepreneurs and they were talking about how like they'd broken free of the system, they'd started their own businesses, how the world's your oyster, how the times are changing, and now with like a phone or a laptop and social media, there's never been a better time to get into business. And I was like, yes. And then my next question was, what the hell would I do though? And there was a guy there who was promoting
Product.
exactly who was promoting an Amazon business. So I was like, Jeff, we're going to start an Amazon business. And then the next guy was about doing forex, so like with stocks and shares and stuff. Jeff, you're going to be a forex trader, and he was just like, oh my god, I don't want to pick up the phone. What's the next crazy thing that's just going to come up with? And again, long story short, the business out there, that arm of the business ended up closing. So we had to come back to the UK. And even at the time, I was like, oh, I'm living my best life in Bondi. It was the best thing that ever happened to us because that planted so many seeds. I then
Mm.
started my coaching qualification. And long story short, in COVID, hit burnout. I was working like an idiot with very little praise and recognition. And I thought there has to be a better path for this where I'm in the driving seat and I get to decide who I work with, why I work with them, how I work with them, via a little stepping stone into a consultancy business for a few months. After that, that gave me the final push to go, no, Laura, you can do it on your own 2 feet. And then the rest is history, my friends.
Wow. And why coaching?
Because I love people. I
Okay.
am so nosy. I am so curious. That's probably why I got into HR at the in the first instance. I'm the kind of person where I go deep so quickly.
Yes.
So I
That's what I'm
mean, you'll be the
surprised we haven't
same.
had this conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. We're just talking about like existential crisis or something instead. And I love, like, I can meet somebody. I know you're the same, Gajinda, and you can just build that trust immediately where they tell you the deepest, darkest secrets, like, the shoe size, the bra size, like what they wanted to be when they were little. Because I'm obsessed with people. I'm so highly empathetic. I love knowing people's stories. And I think I've got that ability, which I absolutely know you have, where you can just get to the heart of the matter and you can very quickly cut through crap, bravado, excuses, and just almost see into the soul and be like, but what do you really want? And
Yeah.
that was where it started. And I thought, you can make a life and a business from talking to people about themselves and the hopes and the dreams and the changes they wanted to make. I was like, sign me up, I'm in.
Amazing. So then this is where Laura Brunton coaching started. So
It
what
is
did
indeed,
Jeff?
my
So
friend.
Jeff is Mr. Laura Brunton. What did
Yeah.
Jeff have to say about it? So then you've obviously said to Jeff, right, we're going into coaching, babe. What was that conversation like?
Exactly right. So I mean, I thought, well, I've already done the hardest conversation, which was getting him across the other side of the world, away from his family and friends and stuff. So it'll be fine. What actually happened was I resigned when he was upstairs on a call, and I hadn't actually spoken to him about it because I just had that lightning bolt moment of clarity where I thought, if I don't do this now, I'm gonna, I'll never do it. I'm gonna lose my bottle. I'm gonna lose my nerve. So yeah, so I did that. But luckily, because I'd already started coaching and I'd just gotten my first couple of paying clients at that point, I'd done my coaching qualification. And I just said to him, I was like, Jeff, I know I can do it. And if we don't go for it, I'll regret it the rest of my life. And that's like one of my biggest fears. I couldn't stand the thought, agenda of not stepping into my true potential and just going for it, even if we failed. So yeah, he was brilliant, bless him. He's so supportive. And interestingly, he'd already started his own business at that point where he was helping business owners more from the online and the tech and the system
Right.
side.
It's so
Because his
connected,
background
isn't it?
exactly. And what we ended up doing, which we laugh about now, is he would like build a sales page for me or an email sequence, and I'd go, right, you need to invoice me. Then I'd be coaching him from a sales perspective or how he was going to do this pitch. And then he was like, right, make sure you invoice me so I can pay you money. Um, and thankfully, we sat down, we had a little nudge from our accountant who just said, is it really worth having two different sets of accounts and all of this money transferring in between? There's something really special about you two. And we kind of looked at each other and thought, wow, should we go for it? Like, should we just see where it goes? And thankfully, it's been brilliant. Now, I'm always completely honest. There are pros and cons of working so closely with your partner, as I'm sure you can anticipate, and some of your lovely women will know. But on the whole, it's meant that if I think selfishly for a minute, I can move so fast in the business. Because a lot of what our issues are as women, aside from mindset and confidence, is the tech side of things and the ability to just go, right, this is the platform I'm going on, this is how I build it. So we frequently, bless him, will have conversations where I'm like, Jeff, we're going to do this. This is like the framework for it. Can you just knock me up a sales page? And he's like, really, Laura? But we can move within 24 hours. We've got something that's ready to launch, that's sellable. Um, we're moving away from that. We've got our strategy nailed down. Don't worry, I won't set panic amongst Jeff anymore. But then externally, from the client perspective, I really think that's a USP as well, Gajinda, because you're getting the 2
100%.
for 1.
Yeah, and
So
I've
he's
seen it play
now
out in real life, and it's amazing.
you. Absolutely. So he's now. So in the past, he was more in the background of the business because personality wise were very different. Like clearly, I'm very extroverted and happy to just like jump on camera. Whereas he's like, no, get the camera away from me. I don't want to speak. Just let me like work on stuff. So he's done fantastic stepping out of his comfort zone as well. And he brings a different perspective from me, which is brilliant. Because that gives like a really enriched conversation with our women where they say, I could do that, I could do that. I know the pros and cons. On balance, I'm doing this. And then also the fact that he's just my wingman and he can advise all of our clients straight away on the best systems to use, tech. He loves listening to his podcast. He's going to love this one. His
You
podcast
talk
is
very
Laura.
nicely about him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like that ears are burning. So I think whether for the women listening, do you know what I mean? That doesn't have to be a partner. Ideally, if you've got just some kind of, well, a coach in the first instance, like Gajinda, and a fabulous mentor, but a community around you and a sparring partner that you can bounce off and be like, is this idea bonkers? Or am I going down the right track here?
And someone who actually gets it and isn't just like, yeah, honey, anything you do is amazing. And you're like, but do you actually get it? You know, with Jeff, he actually
Exactly
does.
right. Exactly right. And do you know what? That, like I said, the pros and cons of that, it's brilliant because um he does get it on every single level because he's so in the business with me. What it does mean though is our pillow talk is all about work. So it means that
Well,
we talk shop a lot.
a lot. Talking of pillow talk,
Where's this going, Gajinda?
this is going. So you then came back to the UK, started this coaching business. You know, you
Yeah.
you roped Jeff into the business, and during pillow talk, somewhere along the line, baby number 3 arrived.
No, how did that even happen? Like
I
the
know, right?
angels just brought the stalk down to earth. I was on the doorstep one day. No jokes. I've got
That
to
must have
stretch my
been really
food.
good pillow talk. But anyway, we're not going to talk about the actual conversation that led to baby Electra being born. But how did that come about? So you've got 2 children, you've got your business. Your business is just starting. You're just starting to build this business, and you
Yeah,
get pregnant,
yeah.
and you have baby number 3. Laura, I can't even. I've seen it. I've seen it play out because we even went away together to LA while you left your newborn behind, and you were still breastfeeding, you were still doing all of those things. Talk us through that. How did that happen and how did you get through it?
So it was very intentional. So we always wanted a third child. We'd been trying for a long time. I'd sadly miscarried between all of the kids, which is why there's such big age gaps in between all of them.
I'm so
So
sorry.
we
I didn't
actually
know that.
did you not? Yeah. And do you know what? I'm really open about that too, because I think especially anything women's health related, we should be talking about it and unfortunately normalizing it because like we all know the stats, unfortunately, about pregnancy losses and so on. And I think it's in a brilliant position where, as women now, especially there's so many conversations around the menopause and stuff, you can talk about the fact that we're not machines. Like we've got hormones raging through us or lack of hormones. Um, and I never want people from, I'm not saying that they would, but from the outside in looking and thinking, oh, she's got that like perfect life. And no, there's trauma, there's tragedy. We've all got it, haven't we? Whether it's trauma with a little T or a big T. So yeah, so we were over the moon when we got pregnant. That was very intentional. Um, and then you get the sickness, don't you? Like the morning sickness pricked in pretty quickly. So there'd be times when I'd be on a call and I'd be like, yeah, yeah, okay, all right, see you soon, like end Zoom. And I had like a bucket and I would just be being, honestly, those days, it actually makes me feel a bit sick thinking back. So how we did it was, again, full honesty. So Jeff was at home, literally in the same home as me. We've got no other family around us, so we don't have grandparents, sisters, brothers, babysitters, nannies, au pairs, none of that. So we are like so tight as a team, and we will just do whatever it takes to get it done. And
Wow.
actually, our first, so we'll both do the school run still. It's only 5 minutes up the road, albeit they're now all in three different schools and nurseries, because we want to be there for them in the morning. We want to be there for them when they come
Mm.
back. But what it does mean, again, complete honesty, is we work ridiculous hours. So we're present for the kids, we're with the kids. But when the little tinkers eventually do go to bed, not all nights, but often it'll be, right, just got to finish up on these things here, get things in order for tomorrow. And I think often that is a side that people are reluctant to talk about. It's the reality of what it's like when you're a business owner. It's, as you well know, it's not a case of just going one day, oh, I've got this idea. Day two, you put the offer out there. Day three, you're making lots of sales. Like it doesn't all have to be all hustle, 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 but it is hard work.
Yeah.
And especially for us where we've essentially got the one income coming in,
From the
failure is
one
not
source as well, right? The one we will talk about some other sources,
exactly.
but from the one
Yeah,
main source.
exactly, darling. But you know what? I'm really grateful for that, Kajinder, for loads of different reasons. But because we know failure is not an option, it means we have to be at the top of our game and we have to make sure we've got superior customer service, that
Mm.
our women get incredible results, and that our reputation is everything to us because we cannot fail. Like, neither of us wants to go back to corporate. So that actually means we're in this for the long term. And I love that. Even though it's hard, don't get me wrong.
And
Like
can we
I'm
put this
here.
into context? How old is your youngest?
So she just turned 2 on Friday. So
And
she's
just to put
2.
that into context, that she is a very little, she wasn't
Yeah,
newborn and now is 7. She's still very,
yeah,
very little. And she's not in full-time nursery. She's only a few days a week, right? So you've
yeah.
still
She's
got
literally, yeah. This week she's just gone from 3 half mornings, 9 till 1, till 9 or half 8 till 3:15 or something like that.
that.
So
Wow.
this is again where it's a blessing and a curse because it means I don't have time to procrastinate. So I'm very
Mm.
naturally action orientated anyway, and quite intuitive. So it means that now that we're coming up to 3 years in January, I know what the needle moving activities are, what the money generating activities are. And I can also really confidently, when we're coaching our women, be like, well, you could do that. But you could also do this. Like, what are the results that you're looking for? Which one do you want to get to quicker? This is the exact path that you can consider to achieve those goals. Where I think sometimes, and really hope I don't cause offense here, but I think sometimes if you haven't got that burning fire like under your bum,
100%. Yeah.
you
You're
just,
going to
you
sit there and do
have to
nothing. You're going to take forever.
exactly right. Or it could be, again, this is a brilliant position to be in when you've got your partner bringing in money and you've got your bills taken care of and stuff. You're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I don't hit my figures this month. I can always have a good go next month. For us, it's like, no, come on, we've got a mortgage, we've got 5 mouths to
And
feed.
you're more powerful, aren't you? You're more powerful when you don't have any other external source bringing in income for you. You
Yeah,
actually own that power and you become more empowered to do
love it.
more for yourself, which is
Absolutely
absolutely
right,
incredible.
darling.
What did Jeff think when you said women? We're only working with women.
Do you know what? I don't even think he batted an eyelid. He'd started with men and women. But he was just like, yeah, it makes sense, let's go for it. And don't get me wrong, I have a handful of male one-to-one clients, but like he literally is one of the girls. It's so funny, like even when he's on the calls, some of the women sometimes like, oh yes, ladies, and then they'll forget and they're like, and Jeff.
And Jeff.
And there was a part of me as well, I'll be honest, I had to like mentally navigate through this where I was thinking, I'm all about the sisterhood, creating those like safe, sacred spaces. How does that dynamic work with Jeff?
Mm.
But when you meet him, he is the most beautiful, kind, unassuming, gentleman you could ever meet. He hasn't got any ego. He would give you the clothes off his back. And I think people really sense and get to test in real life that
Yeah,
partnership and then know that they've got, because let's be honest, not all of us have got good like male role models in our life. I didn't have my dad, unfortunately, but I think that dynamics is really attractive for a lot of people to be able to see that and benefit from it firsthand as well. So he's
100%. And I
amazing.
really feel like I need to get him on the show and hear his perspective. And be like, Laura said this, but can we hear your version?
Yeah, he's like Pinocchio. Don't listen to her.
Oh, I love it. I really love it. So obviously the dynamic is working really, really well, and you guys have built an amazing business. So when you then came home and said, Jeff, how do you feel about me parading around London in my bra and knickers? Can we talk about that conversation?
Yes, we can. Right, so a bit of context here, ladies. Like, I'm not a voyeurist. I don't like just, yeah. I'm just a normal woman. I've got curves, I've got cellulite, veins, you name it. So what happened was, and I'm sure, because I know you're a big maths fan, and some of your audience,
Massive, massive. I was fangirling every time I saw your stories. I'm like, oh my God, she's actually there.
the most surreal thing ever, Gajinda. So, Jules Robinson, who some of you will know, has created an award-winning shapewear range. So, do you know, like your big,
She was
well, I call
Series
them big.
10, Australia Series 10. Just to give non-maths
Yeah.
fans some context,
Oh,
this is Maths Australia
mm,
Series 10. One of the
yeah.
contestants launched a shapewear range and wanted to bring it out into the UK. That's
She
right.
did. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. So it was selling out in Australia, doing really well, won multiple awards, and Jules fantastic. So she's got this whole movement about sexy isn't a size, it's a mindset, and about working with what you've got. And she created the product herself because when she was filming so much, and obviously she had all these slinky dresses on, the shapewear she had, she'd have to like strip and take it all off when you got the toilet, and then you're like trying to
Mm.
get it back in. So she created this fab shapewear, and then how she did it so successfully too is she had ambassadors. So real life, amazing women, all body shapes, colours, ethnicities, sizes, some with disabilities, a real wide range of real women that were representative. And we did a couple of things. She hired a double-decker bus in London that she got all covered with her branding and looked amazing. We met up at a five-star hotel and she gave us our shapewear. And we were all getting ready in front of each other, like these amazing women that I'd called
Wow.
Adam. I'd never met them before. And I think because we were in the most surreal environment, we just bonded together so
Yeah.
quickly
It's like a
to the
proper
point where
sisterhood, right?
exactly. It was just like, well, if you can stand there with your boobs out, I mean, what else can you do? This is just amazing. Yeah, and then we got on top of the rooftop. It was a scorching day in London. It was so perfect on a Saturday. We had the music blasting, the sun, the blue skies. We went past everywhere, like Houses of Parliament, Big Ben, Bond Street, Oxford, like all of the big
Wow.
tourist attractions. And people like were just walking on the street and going, and then other people were cheering, like taxi drivers and bus drivers were beeping the horns, and it was so empowering. And I got off that bus thinking, if I can do that when I'm
Mm.
still 2 stone heavier than before COVID, and still breastfeeding, with whatever body issues that we've all got, I was just like, girl, you can do
Wow.
anything.
100%.
And yeah, then we've done some more campaign work with her, but please don't check her out. She's brilliant, and I just love, love, love it. So it's such a good opportunity.
That is so amazing. And you know, for you as a coach as well, and such a big advocate of women, for you to get there and do that and show your women what is possible is just amazing.
Thank you. And do you know what? I did have a wobble, Gajinda, I'll be honest, because I never thought that I would get it. And weeks had passed, and when she called me, and she was like, "Oh, hi, it's Jules," and I was like, "Sorry, who?" Jules Robinson. And I was like, Jules Robinson. And then I clicked that she had an Australian accent, and I was like, "Actual Jules Robinson." She was like, "Yeah." I was like, um, but I did have a wobble because I thought, especially because like LinkedIn is my preferred platform, and I come from this corporate background, very suited and booted,
Mm,
HR, do you know what I mean? Being all, well, I don't know if I've ever been prim and proper, but you get what I mean. And I thought, could this actually damage my brand? Could people just go, "Oh my God, what is she doing? Like, look at her." Um, so there was all these things going through in my mind, and that was a really sobering question for me, where I thought, Laura, this is a great opportunity to show that you walk
yes.
the walk quite literally. And I will do anything to help women just be totally them. And that's why I called the business Totally You, because
Yeah.
I'm so sick of all of us over generations and millennia be conditioned to think that we've got to play this certain role, and we've got to be the good girl, and we've got to look a certain way and act a certain way. And I think, I mean, notwithstanding obviously all of the horrific atrocities that are happening around the world, but particularly in the Western world, we've never had it better than we have now to do what we want. And I know that's different for every woman, but I think the fact that with phones, it's relatively cheap or free to get hold of people around the world. We can set up businesses at relatively low costs. We can support somebody that's not
So
even in
much.
our
Country.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anywhere around us.
exactly
We're so
right. Exactly
connected. So
right.
connected.
Yeah, and being around like women like you, and I know how much of a role model and a leader you are in your community too. There's so many opportunities to consciously choose the women and the leaders that you want to be around, and start consciously blocking and filtering out all of the people who um consciously or unconsciously make you feel like crap because you're comparing yourself to them, or you're thinking, "Oh, do I have to be like them to succeed at this?" Or like, just, I'm all about just blowing away those myths and those stereotypes and expectations. And hopefully, if I can show just one person that you can thrive because of your circumstances, not despite them, that can actually be your superpowers.
Mm.
So yeah, experience of a lifetime. I will be just
Do you know
buzzing
what?
forever.
And it is. And I wasn't surprised you done it, because my earliest memory of you, Laura, this isn't a this is your live session, but my earliest
Dun,
memory
dun,
of you, and I remember, and I do want to talk a little bit about your mission and what drives you, because my earliest memory of you, and this was really profound. I don't even think you know this. This is really profound for me because I'm a South Asian and we don't normally do this kind of stuff that I saw you doing. But we were in LA, and
yeah.
we've been to many other events after that in person. And I think your baby was 7 months old then, a few months old. And it wasn't the best time for you to be away,
Yeah.
because your baby was so young and you were going through stuff with the business. And I remember we had lots of
Mm,
conversations, and I was sat there thinking, oh my God, I would have stayed at home. I so wouldn't have come here. But I was just like, but you still came, which was amazing.
mm.
And I remember we sat in sessions, and we're sitting in sessions, and I remember hearing, and I know you won't mind me saying this, I remember hearing this pumping, and I'm like, where's this noise? And it's our Laura sitting at the back pumping breast milk. And I was just like, oh my God, as a South Asian woman, we are conditioned to not do this kind of stuff, and especially not in public. But I'm sat
Wow.
in awe of you doing this. So I really want to
Yeah.
understand, why is your mission so important that you would fly across the world to learn from the best, leaving your family, and put yourself through what you put yourself to be in that room?
Do you know what? I've never thought about it like that before. It actually makes me quite emotional thinking about it. I'll be honest, I was like a bit of mum guilt started kicking in, thinking, "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that." But like I say, because I've got Jeff and I knew that he's a brilliant dad, I didn't have to like write him loads of lists and get all the uniforms out. Like he's on it, he's brilliant. What made me do that? Can I give you the unfiltered answer? In the
100%.
first instance, it was for me. And
Mm.
I really hope this comes across in the spirit it's intended
It
to.
really does. I feel it
I
already.
good. I really think that as women, we wear so many hats and
Mm.
labels and so many things to everybody else, mother, sister, daughter, best friend, whatever it might be. And I knew that at that time, I was craving that connection. I was craving being in a room with some of the top people around the world who are leading in business. And I knew, which obviously Sydney solidified, but it's interesting because I've never been a reluctant leader in that sense. I was always like a spot or a geek at school. I was captain of the netball team, the basketball team. I was head girl. I'm the oldest of three kids. So actually, I've always naturally stepped into that role. And I thought, I want to do this. I
Mm.
deserve to do this. And I'll be honest, like my mum, who I love to death and is my biggest fan, was literally like, Laura, like, are you sure you've got
Everybody
a
would
new
be, and it's only
uniform?
if they love
Yeah,
us, they say that, right?
exactly. And then also you would get some people who wouldn't have said this to my face, but probably would have been like, what's she doing? Like leaving her baby, having, yeah, like with all the judgments that would come with that. So it's funny, I've never really thought, like, reflected on this, but I did it for me first and foremost. But then I also did it because if I want to do something, I want to be the best. And I don't mean that from a competitive, like, whoa. I mean that from my women deserve the best. I don't want to half-ass something. And I knew that I would get so many different perspectives, so much insight. Like, how much did we learn from in that room? Not just what we were taught, but the stuff that went on in terms of dynamics,
Oh, it was
politics,
incredible.
mind blowing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
Incredible.
sometimes you need to expose yourself to being out of your comfort zone
Mm.
to really grow. And I think grow into the woman, whether you want to identify as a leader or not, that you are and you're meant to be. And that room stretched me in so many ways. I mean, from a physical perspective, financial perspective, it was a big investment. Time perspective, being away, I'd never been away from my boys that long either, never mind the baby. Um, no regrets, absolutely no regrets. And I really hope, like, because I do this visualization sometimes with my women as well, not quite a deathbed visualization, but
It
hopefully
was
if I make it
life, right? Yeah.
yeah, like make it to like whatever, hopefully 90, 100. I hope I've still got like loads of big white hair or something. And I hope I've still got that joy and that spark in my eyes and that I'm able to look, hopefully, like my many grandchildren, God, I'm gonna get cry, like grandchildren around and really say to them, like, this is your life. Go for it. Like it doesn't matter what you're making me cry. Like just thinking about the kids and growing up and like there's no greater pain. It's probably a quote, not my quote, of living through life, not following your dreams and not being true to yourself. And for me, I just think I couldn't live with that mental torture because we're in our own heads 24/7, aren't we?
100%. And how would you have felt? You're with baby and you're seeing your life live out in LA that
Yeah,
you should have been there and you're not there. And how
such a
would
good
your
point.
baby have felt as well to be like, I stopped my mum going to that place? And
Yeah,
imagine what the
exactly.
baby has got now
Yeah.
because baby is a girl and
Yeah.
she's going to sit there thinking, do you know what? My mum has just shown me what is possible
Thank you.
at
Thank
what
you.
I
And
can do.
do you
And
know
I
what that
won't
means? So
I've
much,
never
so
shared
much.
it with you, but I was in awe of you on that
Thank
trip to think
you.
that's something that I would never have done because I would have held myself back. I would have
Mm,
listened to everything externally and held myself
yeah.
back. But
Mm,
actually, what we need to be doing and is almost normalizing and giving people
yeah.
permission to 100% go for their dreams, even
Mhm.
if they've just started a business, even if they've just got a newborn, whatever it is, you can still go for what you want.
Amen, sister. Absolutely right. And these things, these opportunities can present themselves in so many different ways. And sometimes the timing isn't right, and you've got to be just respectful of that. But I do invite everybody to really tune into what story are you telling yourself about why you can't do something, or you should do this, or you shouldn't do that. Let's stop shoulding all over ourselves and let's
Where's that
go.
coming from? It's not coming from our head. Where's that thought
Yeah,
originated from? It's from somebody else and their experience and their truth, not our own.
absolutely. And just to, one final point on that, which is what you said, Kajinder, my secondary invitation would be for us as women, and I do it, I'm human, is to really think about the judgment we give other women as well. And
100%.
the whether it be something we say out loud, or we just like roll the eyes, or whatever, it goes on the group, on the WhatsApp group or something. And instead of thinking like, oh, how dare she do that? Or have you seen her doing that? Like my default so many times is yes, queen, like go for it, sister. I love seeing examples of women, big or small, just really stepping into the power and doing things and defying society, and knowing that it doesn't make you a bad person. Nobody's gonna die. Like, go for it. Go for
None of
it.
us are getting out of here alive anyway, are we? None of us are
Yeah,
getting out of here alive.
exactly, babe.
And
Exactly, babe.
sometimes the judgment isn't in the things you say, but it's in the
Mm,
things you don't. So even if you don't say anything, you're not normalizing what is
yeah,
happening. And that is a judgment in itself. And I
yeah,
know this because we're both the same like this. We are cheerleaders. We
yeah.
don't need an excuse to go, give me an L, give me an A.
Exactly.
We'll be there just literally cheering each other on, whether someone's asked for it or not. And sometimes it is about just speaking out, just being that cheerleader, because sometimes that's all somebody needs.
Absolutely. Just that one lone voice can
Come on.
just be the difference between somebody going, F this, I'm shutting shop, I'm giving it up, it's too hard, what's the point? To tomorrow's another day, I'm going to keep on going. I love that agenda. Yes. And that can be as simple as one person liking your post, can't it?
Exactly.
Or sharing something, or pointing a prospective client your way. Like, we all have so much power and ability to positively impact each other without spending money. So even if you can't invest in that person you want to work with, or you can't buy the thing that they're selling, the candles, the chocolates, the Christmas hampers, like you can still support
Share the knowledge.
female-led businesses. Yes, in so many different ways. I'm so here for that. And you're a great role model in that, Kajinder, because you helped me so much when I was wanting to start off free networking and sessions. So, ladies, this woman right here, given how busy she is, how many people she's supporting, like the money you can command because you're the best at what you do. When I was doing my very first networking session, she was like, come on, I'll come on. I'll look after Zoom in the background. Like, you go, you do your thing. Who would do that except Gajinder?
You, Laura.
So,
You, Laura. And I
yeah,
think
you
you
got me right.
attract what you vibrate. And that's exactly, and I know you are the person that would have my back. So when you were
100%.
just sending me, questions, I was like, Laura, shall I just come? Shall I just
Yeah,
come and sit through the session and just support you? Like, please, would you?
I
And
loved it.
And
Thank
sometimes
you
you
so
just
much.
need that support, isn't it? You just need that person in the corner. And I remember, I think I called myself Team Brunton. And I
Yeah,
was just like, I'm just going to sit in the corner. No one will even notice I'm there just supporting you. And we just all need that for
me
each
too.
other.
Thank
We really
you.
need that for each other. Amazing. So, one last question is, if Team Brunton, and I'm going to say Team Brunton because I feel Jeff needs some credit for this as well. If Team Brunton took over the world with their services, what would that world look like for you guys?
It would be, there'd be so much love. It would be so
Mm,
vibrant. It
yeah.
would be my core value, like business value, is connection as well. So it would be on a larger scale. So we run a group coaching program at the moment, which is amazing. We absolutely love the women we get to work with there. We do the free super connector session. So there would just be this huge ripple effect through a community of women who felt free and empowered to do what they want to do, and to have access to the resources that they need to be able to, the resources, the knowledge, the information that they need to do that. And I don't know what that looks like. I think sometimes, I don't know if you're the same. I think it can be quite hard when the kids are so young to really envisage and hold on to what that like big 10-year plan could be. Because I mean, at that point, the kids will be in senior school. Electra will be
You don't
like
need to
Alexander.
anymore. You don't have to do school runs anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's my purpose in life? No jokes. I will fill it with lots of fabulous things, let me tell you.
There'll be more
But
sales pages out.
yes, I'd love to take them around the world with me and show them other cultures and just make sure that the feet are always on the ground as well. Because like same as your kids, they've grown up in a household that really isn't that normal. Like
It's not
both parents
conventional,
work.
isn't it? It's not what they see on
Yeah,
TV.
exactly. And even like on the school run, we'll talk about like what kind of a day you're gonna have, who's gonna decide if you have like if like my middle one, bless him, he's struggling a bit getting dropped off at the moment. He just wants to like hug on and come back home. So we're very much so like trying to empower the kids from a growth mindset and positive psychology perspective of well, who gets to decide how you feel? And we always talk about every day we want to have fun, learn lots, and be kind. Like that's the
I
three
love
things that we talk
that.
about, right? It's just so relevant for adults
And
as well, isn't
voting
it? I
you
just
for Prime Minister, Laura.
I don't even know if I'd want that job. Would you want that job?
Do you know
I'd
what?
like impact, but
Do you know, if I knew I could actually make a difference in
yeah,
politics, I would. But I just think the poor sod, whoever has it, can never make the difference they want to make because the system is so messed up. But this isn't a political
exactly.
conversation.
That's as an aside. So yeah, that would be the vision for me. And also coming back to maybe it does sound selfish, but just making sure that I'm happy, I'm healthy, that I haven't become greedy, my feet haven't left the ground. I mean, it hasn't happened in 41 years, so hopefully it won't happen yet. But I think whatever, fame, fortune can change people a lot, can't it? And I always want to stay just humble and so, so grateful. And I really hope that like Jeff and I will still be rock solid. I mean, been together 18 years now.
Be
So
careful
yeah,
of
I hope.
pillow talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Might have
Don't you
some
don't
more
want that poor
Bruntons
baby
running
to
around.
turn up. But yeah, just grateful, happy, and healthy, babe, and supporting women all day long, every day.
Oh,
That just
love
makes
that.
me the happiest ever.
Laura, thank you so, so much. I've honestly absolutely loved our conversation. It's been absolutely amazing. Really high vibe, exactly what I thought it would be. How can people get in touch with you? So, if anyone is listening to this conversation and wants to reach out, how can they do
Yeah.
that?
So LinkedIn or Instagram. So on LinkedIn, you'll find me Laura Brunton, and on Instagram, it's Laura Brunton Coaching. That's always the best places to start. I think you've got my email address, laura
Yeah.
at laurabrunton.com. Just come and say hi. It will be fabulous. I'd love to welcome you into my world as well.
Amazing. And do you know what? Laura is a completely open person. And I vouch for the fact that her DMs are always open. So if you just jump in and ask a question, they're
Yeah,
always, always open. And it is Laura at the other end as well. So there isn't a
yeah,
bot
100%.
or anyone else. It is Laura at the other end. So do reach out because you just never know. It might just change your life. It might just change your life. Laura,
Absolutely.
thank you so, so much. I'm going to let you go because I know you probably got the school run just as I I love the timing of this session, but thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you. And thank you for everyone who's watched the show and who's listened to this amazing episode as well. See you next time.